Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about something that is a little bit more serious. I don't know if it's serious, but a little bit more like heartfelt and more just catching up on how I'm feeling. Like maybe that'll help other moms out there with how they're feeling and maybe similar situations. If I keep losing my gaze, it's because Logan woke up. I was supposed to film this while he was napping. So if you hear him or hear his toys, I apologize. Or if the camera shakes because he's trying to crawl underneath my setup. Okay, so today I'm actually going to talk about my feelings towards ending my mat leave and heading back to work full time. Okay, so I started my mat leave on May 28th, 2016, and my due date with Logan was actually May 30th, so I worked almost right up to, I worked right up to my actual due date, and unfortunately I didn't have him for another 2 weeks, so I was on mat leave for 2 weeks before I even had him. And he came June 13th. That paper. Logan's new favorite thing to say is that and point. So it's like that. So something new is I actually applied for a full-time position that came available within my workplace. It's the same position, it's just from part-time to full-time, and I was fortunate enough to succeed in the interview and I got it, but the only catch is I have to go back to work almost a month earlier, and now I'm going to actually be starting Monday, which is May 8th, 2017, so I am getting real close to that day where I'm going to start back, and I just want to talk about how I'm feeling. I thought maybe a video would help me personally just to talk about how I'm feeling. Sorry if the camera's shaking. When Logan sees a tunnel or a small space, he has to try and get through it. So that's what he's currently trying to do. That's why you hear grunting. Some of my feelings so far are that I do have a lot of anxiety about leaving Logan. So I didn't always get anxiety. I mean, I'm sure I had it a bunch of times when I was in high school and just didn't realize what it was. But lately I've been getting a lot of anxiety since I've become a mom. I've definitely increased my anxiety level, which is not a good feeling at all. There's a lot of things that I've definitely had to overcome and deal with and learn how to deal with. So there is that. But I do have a lot of anxiety about going back to work, which granted is totally normal. I know, it's totally normal. Some other things that I'm worried about is pumping. I still am exclusively breastfeeding. Well, exclusively breastfeeding meaning that I only give him breast milk. I sometimes pump him, give it to him in a bottle, but it's very rare. Usually it's just me feeding him. He's always been just feeding on demand, so I'm gonna have to try and figure out a pumping schedule, which kind of makes it hard because he just feeds when he wants to. So I don't really have like specific times that he eats, so I don't even know really how much I'm supposed to be pumping or how often I should be pumping. So my plan is to at least make it to a year with feeding him breast milk, and then, oh my goodness, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun. That's paper. You read it? Those are words with letters. Cool, huh? So I'm gonna have to start pumping, and I'm just nervous about how I'm gonna pump, when I'll have time to pump. I'm just gonna have to be a little bit more diligent on asking for breaks to pump, and hopefully we can do it, and I know we can. It's just gonna be an adjustment like everything else. So these ones are a little bit more personal, I guess, which makes me nervous talking about, but hopefully talking about this stuff will help someone else going through it. So I have a fear of Logan losing a connection with me, which probably sounds ridiculous, especially if you've never been a mom. I know I hate when people say that, but to be honest, it's just true. I just have a fear that he will lose the connection a little bit that we have, just because I do see him all the time, 24/7. I'm always with him and I'm the one feeding him. So that is definitely something that's been in the back of my head. And I know it's not true, and I know he won't lose a connection with me, and it's just that mama brain that we have that, you know, overrules our life and gives us all these struggles and anxieties about everything in life. But that is definitely something that's been in the back of my head. So there's that. I know I'm gonna have a struggle with losing control over things to do with Logan, and that seems super ridiculous. And I'm not controlling over him. I just mean I've always been the one home with him, so I've kind of created the schedule. I find that we've kind of gotten to a routine that's been really good for us and worked really well for us, that kind of stepping back is going to be really hard. So I already know that I'm going to have a bit of a difficult time just letting go and trusting. And I do trust, it's just mental. Like, it's all mental. I know everything will be fine. It's just my brain on overload. So something that I found when I first became a mom is that I had to learn how to be needed 24/7, especially with breastfeeding. I found, I mean, even just if you're not breastfeeding, but I found personally with breastfeeding, like, you literally are their feeding source, so you're needed 24/7, and that's like a huge adjustment you get used to eventually, and it just becomes your life. So now I'm on the opposite spectrum. I'm going to have to learn the opposite. I'm going to have to learn how to be me again and how to not be needed 24/7, and I think that's going to be a huge adjustment for me, is because I've always been, for Logan's life, the prime food source for him, and I feel like now that I have to go to work for 40 hours a week, or a little bit more than that, but 40 hours a week, that I'm going to have to learn that I am no longer needed 24/7, and that it's okay that I'm not needed that much. So that one's gonna be a tough one to learn as well, so there's the list. So something else that I'm feeling is I'm really nervous about the exhaustion that I'm going to probably face, especially with my schedule that I'm going to be having. It's definitely gonna be a huge adjustment. Logan is still waking up in the middle of the night. And that being said, I am going to be working closes, so I'm going to be working till about 1 in the morning. And that definitely is starting to weigh on me a little bit, because I know that I'm gonna get home, I'm gonna have a tough time going to sleep, and then Aaron's gonna have to go to work in the morning, so then I'm gonna have to get up. So hopefully he'll still have morning naps for a little bit of time, and that way I can just nap when he naps, but I'm definitely nervous about the exhaustion that's going to hit. With my schedule as well, I'm also gonna be working 10.5-hour shifts 4 days in a row, so it's gonna be interesting. I'm actually like super emotional about missing out, and I'm trying to be super understanding, because like I could not even imagine for Aaron having to go back to work since he was born. Like, just missing out is like, I can't even imagine. That's probably gonna be the hardest. I'm not ready for that either. A little bit more in depth of my anxieties on leaving. So like I said, I'm really nervous about, and I have a lot of anxiety about leaving for 10.5 hours. Granted, because my shift starts not till 2:30, I'm only gonna be missing out on from 2:30 till bedtime, which is usually around between 7 and 8. So it's not a great deal of time, but I mean, it's still time that I could be with him, so I've been so fortunate to be able to be home and to be able to be with him and support him and be there when he has his first. And now I just feel like if I miss them, it's gonna, like, especially the first one that I missed, that it's gonna be really tough. And because I'm nursing him, I'm nervous for that change, like really nervous for that change. So to be honest, I'm gonna miss you, you know. I'm gonna miss you when I'm at work. That's a hair tie. Okay, so overall, I know it's gonna be adjustment, and it's I think because it's the inevitable and it's on Monday and today's Thursday, so 3 days away, 3 days away, it's just making it that much more difficult, I guess. I feel like once I'm in my work schedule and it becomes a little bit more of a routine and I start to become me again, that maybe it'll be a lot easier. And I know it'll be easier, it's just an adjustment, and just like anything when you're a first-time mom, everything is just an adjustment, so you just kind of learn to be a little bit more open to new things and things changing. I'm just nervous, to be honest. Like, I just don't want to leave him. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it on a positive note, just because that's a lot of things that I just talked about, and to be honest, I don't even think I'm really processing a lot of them. I'm just kind of shouting out how I feel, and maybe I can do a video after I start work and just kind of see where I'm at that point, and just kind of see that point of view, I guess, because right now I'm just have a lot of feelings, but not a lot of process of the feelings. I don't know, I'm just sad. I'm excited for being able to talk to adults again. It's definitely really tough when you're home, especially during the winter. It was really, really tough to go out and do stuff because he was just so little. And it gets so cold here that we didn't really leave the house that often, and if we did, we went to the mall or like we walked around stores. So it's gonna be really nice for me to be able to talk to adults again and to kind of go back to who I was before Logan. I'm excited to see my friends again and to hang out. We don't just hang out at work, we do work too. So I am excited for that. I'm excited to have a schedule for myself and not just be on Logan's schedule all the time. I think that's going to be very beneficial to me. And even though I have so much anxiety with the whole going back to work, I know it's going to be good for me to have that time just to be an adult and not just be Logan's mom, even though I'm always going to be thinking about him while I'm at work. I'm also really excited that he will be with his dad, and I'm super, super excited that he's gonna be able to have that time. I'm super excited for Aaron to have that time to form a bond like I have with Logan, and it's so much easier to form a bond with your child when it's just the one-on-one rather than having both of us here, because we have like our co-parenting bond, and then I have my individual bond with Logan, and Aaron still has his individual, but he'll definitely be able to make it even stronger, if that makes sense. I think that's going to be phenomenal for the both of them. Some other things that are positive about the situation is I just have a great support system, I have a great family, and I have great friends. So I know that while I'm going through all of my fears and my transition into work, that I'm going to have people there that love me and that support me and don't judge me for how I'm feeling, and that I'm really, really lucky to have. So I just want to reach out if you're feeling like this, or if you have different anxieties or even depression within your going back to work, or even non-baby or mom related. Just make sure you do know you have people out there. Even if you don't have family and friends, there are lots of resources on who you can talk to, and man, talking it out makes it so much better. There's times in this mommyhood that I've been in where I've been just so stuck in a slum, and if I didn't have my husband or my family to just expel my feelings on and know that it was a safe environment, then I think I'd be in a very different place right now. So I'm very, very, very fortunate I have their support and their understanding of how I'm feeling. So anyways, I'm gonna leave this video on a positive note. I hope that this helps other moms or other people out there with their anxieties to just talk about it, whether it's on a video, it's to friends or family, or you know, whatever means makes it easier for you to deal with how you're feeling. Oh man, this kid is getting into everything. Who's that? Ooh, hello. Hello, cutie. Hello. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed it or enjoy any of our other videos, please give us a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell if you want to be notified when we put out a new video. Follow us on social media. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you next week on Friday. Can you say bye-bye? Say bye-bye. Sorry I was so loud and playing. Say bye-bye. So sorry I was loud and playing. Yeah, good job. Mwah. All right, guys, have a great week. Bye.